Hey, in this lesson, I will show you how to create a simple but pretty cool interactive app like this. So let me show you what it does. What is your name? And you can type in whatever name that you want. Let's say Marisol. It's my friend's name. And how old are you? How old is she? I don't know, but let's say she's 18. Submit. Marisol, you're a baby. I guess 18 is too young. um, so let's refresh this page and type in something else. What is your name? My name is Jeff. And how old are you? Well, Jeff is 40 years old. Submit. Jeff, you're old. Okay. So inside of this app, there's some programming going on here, right? So depending on the name that they put and the age that they put, the response will be different. And you are going to learn how to create an app like this in this lesson. Whenever you create your app, you want to design and then you want to code. So there are two steps, designing and coding. So first, let's design this simple app. You click design. And for this simple app, you're just going to have two screens. Okay. And you can create screens here. So we can select a new screen. Now you have two screens. So the first screen is the question screen. And notice that I'm using identifiable ID name using a camel case, right? Question screen. And then second screen, I'm gonna name it as response screen. Okay. And maybe we can change the color of each of the screen. So let's change the question screen to something red, pink. Response screen could be another color. Let's do maybe blue, green. All right, so now we created these two screens. And in the question screen, I am going to ask a user how old he or she is. So let's put some elements. Okay, so these are the elements that I can have to design this app. So I'm gonna choose a label element, and I'm gonna change. Or before I change, I wanna name this element. Right, label one is too generic. So let's say this is question label. That's a little better. And question label, I'm gonna ask the user how old. And this is the text that appears here. This is one of the properties that I can change for this text element. What is your age, or how old are you? Okay, so I just changed the text property. So now this is the text that appears for this element. I'm not going to change any other values just to keep it simple. So next element that I want to add is maybe text input, where user can input their age. So again, let's just name this element first. Text input. What about age input? Age input. I cannot type. Age input by user. And placeholder is some letter or number that appears here as a default value. But you don't have to have that. I can just keep it blank. And again, like I'm gonna keep all these values here. I don't need to change it. And then one more element, maybe button to submit their age or something like that. So when somebody enters the age, they can click this button to submit their age, right? So button to submit is the name of this button. And the text, you can do something like submit. How does that look? Very simple, but that's all I need. Okay, so what I want to do is when the user submit their age, I want this app to go to the next screen and it's gonna show something depending on the age that they submit. So here, this text could maybe it's gonna display the age that they enter. Let's just make it like that. So ID name, response label. And this text that's gonna show up, I want it to be dependent on the age that they enter. So I don't know what it's gonna be. So we can just leave it for text now, this property right here. I'm gonna be coding so that this property will change depending on the user input. So we're just gonna keep it like this. This is gonna be a simple app like this. Okay, so question screen, user is gonna enter the age, submit, go to the next screen, and it's gonna show something depending on the age. So that's it. Designing part is done. So now you're gonna try to code that program, right? Because right now, if you run this program, this is what's gonna show. No matter what I enter, nothing's gonna happen. I just designed it, but I didn't code it. So first thing I want to do is, let's just do one step at a time. When I click submit, or let's just do one thing at a time. That's obvious, right? So when you click submit, you want to go to the next page. So maybe we can code that. That's an easy one to code. So when you click submit, there are 2 or 3 blocks that you guys been using, right? One of them was on event. This function right here, the program is always listening to user input or some changes that happen in the app. So on event is looking for some changes. Okay, so if user click this button, the app will detect that click and it's gonna run all the blocks that's in this green function section. Okay, so what I want to do is when the user click the button, and remember we named the button to submit. So when user click the button, we want it to go to the next page, right? We want it to do more than go to the next page, but for now, we're just gonna go to the next page. So let's just do one step at a time. And the block that you can use, setScreen. If you look around, the naming of these blocks make it easier for you to know like what the block does, right? So you want to go to the next screen. setScreen is the block that you want to choose. And remember, you want to go to the response screen. So this should let you go to the next screen when you press submit. There you go. It doesn't matter what's in this block, what's in this box. It's gonna go to the next page when you press submit. Okay, so that's what we coded. So now we're using 2 screens, both of the screens. All right, so what else do you want to do? We want user to enter numbers here, right? And then when you go to the next page, this text let's just show the number, the age that they enter. So how are we gonna do this? There's this useful block, getText, getNumber. These are very useful to extract the user input, because what it does is get the number value from the specified element. So if user enters a number in this box, I can get the value from the box, right? So let's change. Okay, here. This is what we're gonna do. So when the user clicks submit, I want this text to change to the number that they enter. And remember, this text element has all these properties, right? So when the user when the user submit the age, I'm gonna change this text property to the number that they enter. That makes sense? So here, when the user clicks submit button, I'm gonna change the property here, set properties. I'm gonna change the property of the, which one was that? Response label, right? I'm gonna change the property of the text label. Am I gonna change the width property? No, I'm gonna change the text property into whatever they enter in here, right? The number that they enter. So I'm gonna get the number from the box, which is, where is this? Yeah, get number here. So the number, oh yeah, here. Which element are we gonna extract the number? We're gonna use age input by user. Okay. So I'm gonna change the text property of the response label, and I'm gonna show the age input by user. I'm gonna get the number from this box. Phew. All right, let's see. So whatever number that they enter, when you click submit, the number should show. Cool. Okay. So that's one way to extract numbers. Let's see what happens if you type in text. See, like none. I can't remember what it stands for. It's an abbreviation of something. But what it means is like, hey, this is not a number, it's a text. And I can't recognize that because this get number is to extract numbers, but I enter text, so it's not gonna work. But instead of using get number, if I put get text, it should be able to extract that text, right? I don't know why we want to do that, but just to show you what those blocks do. So if you put letters, it's gonna get the text from that box. So you can make something simple like this. How old are you? You could also have another question like, let's ask question, what is your name? And that label could be asking name label. And we can have another box, text box. So name input by user or something like that, right? So we can have these two boxes, and when we code, this response label could show both of these information. So let's try get text from this box, name input, and maybe we can show the age too. It's hard to do it with the block. I can just add, so the name input plus age. Where's the get number? Yeah, get number. And age input by user. Okay, well, let's see what happens. What is your name? Yo. How old are you? 30. Yo, 30. It combines these two data together. I don't like it. I want to have some space. So maybe we can add some string in here, right? I can put space or maybe like a comma. Yo. I can even type you're 30. I don't know. Let's just keep it simple. It's already getting a little big. Yo, 30. Hey, yo, you're 30. Cool. Okay. Another thing I want to do, though, maybe like rather than just showing the number that they enter, maybe we can code so that depending on the number, it's going to show different response, right? And it's a lot easier to use variable to keep track of the number that they enter. I'll show you what that means. So first thing, we want to create variables, okay? A variable for each of these data that they enter. So let's create a variable in the beginning of the code. This could be username. And this variable, you can think of variable as a container to store information, right? I'm going to store whatever user put in here into this variable to just store the information. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. And how old are you? I'm going to store that information in this container right here. So user age. So what I'm going to do is, let's just get rid of this for now. Whenever user click this button, I want to store these values in these boxes into these variables, okay? So even before it goes to the next screen, I can put the text. So go to getText. I'm going to store that, extract the letters that they entered in the box and store that value in this variable. Okay, let's try to do that with the user age too. So user age and get number from the age input by user. Okay, so I'm just storing the information. And if you want to see if it's working or not, there's a little trick that you can use, console.log. and we can see what's inside of the username. So let's make sure like this is working. So I run the program, and yeah, submit. So right here, down here, it says yo, so it's working, right? When I click the button, whatever the user input should be stored in this variable username, and I typed in username in console.log, so it shows you like what's stored inside of this variable username. So it's doing what I want it to do, so it's good, it's great. So what do I want to do? So now that these values are stored in these variables, we can kind of program some cool stuff, right? So let's use if statement. If user age is older than, let's say, 20. Okay. If it's older than 20, maybe we can show in the response screen. Oops. We can show in the response screen that maybe, hey, you're old enough. You're old. You're too old. So we're gonna change the property of this text. Okay. So let's change the property of the text. How do you do that? We're gonna change the property of the text, set property. And we are changing the response labels text property to you are old. Yeah, so if the user put 20 or more, it's gonna show you're old. But if it's younger than 20, so if not 20 or older, then let's say set property response label. I'm gonna change the text to you are a baby. So if you do it like that, so right now I didn't code anything for this name, so we can just forget about this box right here. Submit. You're old. Remember I put 30, so that's why it says you're old. What if like I put 10 in here? It should say you're a baby, right? So let's see what happens. You're a baby. The problem about this, if you put something like minus 50, you're a baby. Hey, that's or what about what about letters? How old are you? I am a person. I'm not even answering the question. Then you're a baby. It doesn't make sense. I just want it to be numbers, right? So we can add one more if else statement. So if else, the age, user age has to be older than 0, right? And if it's anything else, for example, user age is like younger than 0 or some text values, you want it to show that hey, that you didn't enter it correctly or something like that. So response label text, please enter your age, right? So that then, like, if somebody type in like ha ha ha, it's gonna tell you please enter your age, because it's neither older than 20 or older than 0. It's not even a number. That makes sense? So now we are using the value stored in the user age to give some cool response. The name, you can use name in if statement and come up with some like a cool program too. But just to keep it simple, I can just put in the response, I can say, I can start the response with the username and add this phrase maybe. So what I did was in the response, let me just show you. So I'm going to put 30 years old. What should show is the value that's stored in the username variable, which in this case should be yo. And this is the string, the text value that's going to be attached after that username, right? So yo, you're old. That's what should show, right? Yo, you're old. And if I change the name to John, I have a friend named John, spelled like this. Let's say he's 30. John, you're old, right? So you can do something like this. So here, let's just change that. Let's just add a username for each of the response. Hey, John, comma, you're a baby. Okay. This could be maybe just like that, because if somebody doesn't enter their age, I don't know if they enter the name correctly. So maybe we're gonna have to just leave it like this. So now you can put some name and how old. I'm actually 22. So put my real age in there. Yo, you're old. Yeah, still old. I got it. Sounds good? So now we did some programming. Use the variables to store some values that user entered, and then you use those values and create some cool programs, right? Cool but simple. Okay. So that's it.